So you've lost your voice. Maybe you're losing your voice a lot and you don't understand why. Let's talk about some of the reasons behind it and things that we can do to help it heal faster and to help make sure it doesn't happen quite as frequently. And I want to say, if at all. But let's talk about some of the causes, first of all. We all understand and we all know that illness is a cause of losing your voice, and you can't help that. That mucus, that extra mucus from a cold, a flu, allergies, whatever, they're draining down your throat, which is the way gravity takes things, and they're going over the vocal folds in the meantime, and it causes irritation. Now, you've lost your voice for whatever reason because of irritation, because your vocal folds are swollen, and vocal folds work by vibrating. And if they're swollen and irritated, they're not vibrating the way they're supposed to, and you're not getting the sound that you desire or you've been working toward. So we have the illness. We also have overuse and misuse. So if you are maybe a teacher or a professional who has lots of meetings, or you're a coach, or you are in a situation where you're using your voice a lot, you are prone to having voice loss or voice strain. And that's just because of pure use. Just like if you have a job where you're lifting things with your right arm all day long, every day, it's going to get tired. Now you're going to build muscle, but you have to mitigate, building the muscle versus overusing the muscle and just hurting it. So there's misuse. There's also poor technique. Maybe you're not talking correctly. Maybe you could be talking higher in your range. Or if you're a singer, you're singing incorrectly. You are putting excess tension on your vocal folds and on your voice. And so you're losing your voice a lot. These are things that we can mitigate, we can change. Lastly, there's, of course, stress-related voice issues, just like any other part of the body. If you stress it too much, or if you just have emotional stress going on, we all carry it in different places of our bodies. It happens with our voice too. So in that situation, the best thing to do is to address, of course, what's causing the stress. Some things that you don't want to do when you have vocal loss or vocal strain, you can't speak, you can't talk. First of all, you don't want to whisper. And it seems intuitive because you're not making sound, right? But what's happening is you've got a lot of air flowing through the vocal folds, flowing through this area. And while, again, you're not making sound because the folds aren't coming together, you're still forcing a lot of air through that pipeway. And it's irritating the vocal folds even more. They're already plenty irritated. That's why they're not making sound. So if you can avoid it, write things down, use hand signals, type it in, avoid whispering. You want to avoid clearing your throat. Now, swallowing is fine. Drinking is great. But clearing your throat is slamming the vocal folds together really hard. And again, it's just more irritating for the vocal folds. You also don't want to just push through the pain, whether it's literal pain or the pain of not having your voice. One, if it hurts when it comes to singing, you're doing something incorrectly. So you want to stop and analyze what's going on. Two, you are only slowing your healing process. So if there is pain or if there is a loss of voice and you continue to try to make sound, you are going to only slow down the healing process. It's like when you have a cut on your finger, you don't continually rub it and hope that it gets better because it's already irritated, it's red, it's swollen, whatever. You don't want to continue to put more friction on that cut. The other thing that I want to clarify is vocal rest is important, but silence is not necessarily what you need. Complete silence is not the best long term. So when you do speak, you do it limitedly and you do it intentionally, but complete vocal rest, especially long term, is not necessarily the answer for if you're having vocal issues. Now, what you can do is what why you're watching the video. Like, what can I do? Because I'm losing my voice. You've heard this before. And this is especially for those who are sick. You want hydration. Your body is made up mostly of water. And so getting that hydration in, helping flush out things, helping thin out the mucus as much as possible. And as you hydrate, you're also giving the vocal folds the cover that they need. They have a protective mucus around them too. And so when you are hydrating, you're also building up that mucus indirectly and over time. It's not, I drink a glass of water now and in 10 minutes I'll be fine. I drink a glass of water throughout the day and I'm going to gradually get better. So hydration, whether that's drinking, whether that's a humidifier or breathing in steam, going into the shower with the hot water and the steam, all these things are great for your body. An alternative to clearing your throat is using the vocal fry, but it's a nice vibration that's going to help clear things off of the vocal folds, and it's less aggressive. So the vocal fry is that grovelly sound that's way down at the bottom of your range. It's used for different colors and techniques and whatnot in singing, but it's also helpful to just kind of, again, gently vibrate and get things, the extra mucus to move along and to get out of the way. When you feel like your voice is starting to come back, or it doesn't hurt, but it's just a little bit strained, some nice, gentle vocal exercises, or even part of what some call their vocal cool down routine, those are good to help keep your vocal folds in the game, but aren't too strenuous. So you can do some lip trills, which is some love them and some hate them. You can do some humming, some scales, and you can kind of feel out where's my range and what's my strength. And it's also another way to cause some vibrations and maybe clear some of that extra gunk off of the vocal folds. I want to remind you here, if there is pain in swallowing or in making sound, that is an indicator. It's just, you got to stop. You really need to just take a break. Now, here is my favorite topic about losing your voice, and that is, what the heck do I do when I have rehearsals or I have a big performance coming up? It's always wonderful when it's tech week or it's 3 days to opening night and you get sick because you've been working hard for how many weeks and pushing and pushing and pushing, and now you're sick and you've got a performance coming up. It is so common, and I understand that the desire is to push through the pain, literally and figuratively. But what you need to do, what is best for your voice and what is going to be best for the performance, is to take a step back. And that is probably harder than any of these other things to do. But you need to go into rehearsal and understand that you can mentally walk through all of these steps without physically using your voice. It may be inconvenient for the other cast members, but it's also going to stretch everybody to kind of make sure that they know what they're supposed to be doing. And I say cast members, this works for a band or any kind of music situation. When it comes to vocal strain, you cannot push through and expect to have great results on the end. Just like in a race, if you pull a muscle in practice 2 days before the track meet or whatever kind of sporting event you're using running for, you don't continue through practice. You go to the trainer, you do some self-care, and you help it to heal as much as possible before the meet. That's what vocalists need to do. Mark rehearsal. Let your teachers, your directors, your staff, your manager, whoever is in charge of your music situation, you need to stress your overall well-being for your voice, because if you don't let it heal, you're going to have nothing to offer when it comes time for the performance. I'm not going to go into steroid injections or anything like that. That's between you and your doctor. But I do recommend that you talk to a medical professional who works with vocalists, because they are going to understand more in depth the end results, the benefits, and the drawbacks to that kind of treatment. Now, if your voice has gone hoarse for more than 2 weeks, or it happened very suddenly, it's time to get a medical professional involved. If it's lasting a long time, there's a good indication that something is not healing the way it should. If it happened suddenly, there's a good indication that there was an event that caused this, and the issue may be more than just the average laryngitis, swelling of the vocal folds, and having somebody take a look inside at what is going on is going to save you long-term hurt, so that you can get the best care right away, so that the body can begin to heal the way it needs to. Remember, your voice is resilient. It's been through a lot, and it can take a lot. But if you love to sing, taking care of your voice is so important. If you're struggling with losing your voice on a frequent basis, there's a good indication that technique is your main problem, and you need to get help to get this problem to stop reoccurring. So I really encourage you to look into getting a vocal coach, a vocal teacher that can guide you and help pinpoint what is going on, because it's not normal, it's not healthy, and you could have some long-term effects, but the good news is it's overcomable. And the more you refine your technique, the more your voice is going to be available for you long term. So I know that this was helpful for you, and I'm excited to hear about the takeaways that you have. Drop a comment in the comments below and let me know what is helpful and what questions do you still have. And please subscribe, like, and stay tuned for more helpful information to get you singing your best.